welcome back. For this next section, we're going to talk about plexuses. Yes, it could be plexi, but people sometimes say plexuses. So when anterior rami from multiple spinal nerves interweave, that's called a nerve plexus. And plexuses are really important innervation for different body structures, especially in the neck and the arms and the legs. They're going to be really important so that each of these body structures actually has innervation from a number of different nerves so that damage to any one nerve doesn't completely disable the arm or the leg. And so the first plexus we're going to talk about is the cervical plexus, cleverly located in the neck and emerging from the cervical vertebrae. I know, who'd have thunk it. And you can see that it starts out with these anterior rami, shown here in orange, from the C1 through C5 spinal nerves. And then those then do this really complicated branching and fusing and branching and fusing, sometimes incorporating branches from other nerves that aren't actually part of the plexus. So it's really complicated. And then these are going to have fairly complex functions, which we are not going to go over in this lecture. Not on your study guide for this class. The one I do want you to know about is the phrenic nerve, which is shown down here. That one innervates the diaphragm, which you remember is your primary respiration muscle. So that's a pretty important nerve, and that is a branch off of this cervical plexus. Now the next plexus is really important. It's called the brachial plexus. And this is going to provide the innervation to the arm and the pectoral girdle. And you can see on the cadaver, you can see this really complex branching and fusing and branching and fusing. And it does have 5 different sections, which I would like you to know. The anterior rami make up the roots of the plexus. The next section are called the trunks. Those merge into the divisions. We have an anterior and a posterior division. Then we have the cords, 3 cords, and then finally the terminal branches. It does seem like this sometimes. Don't worry, you only need to know the names of the 5 sections and the names of the 5 terminal branches. And I won't ask you to identify any single one. Save that for nursing school, for those of you going on to nursing school. All right, so the roots merge into the 3 trunks. The nerve to the subclavius comes out of here from the superior trunk up here. The trunks divide into the 2 divisions. The anterior division is going to innervate the anterior compartment muscles. The posterior division innervates the posterior compartment muscles. Then there are 3 cords, lateral, posterior, and medial. And then finally the 5 terminal branches. And their names are axillary, median. The axillary is going to go through the armpit. It's actually going to go to the lateral side of the shoulder. Median is going to go down the middle of the arm. Musculocutaneous. Why does it get to be called musculocutaneous? I don't know. All of the others literally innervate muscles and skin. What's so special about this one? Radial, guess what? Goes down the radial side. Ulnar, guess what? Goes down the ulnar side. So how are you going to remember these 5 parts? You are going to use this clever mnemonic: reach to drink cold beer. And that's for roots, trunks, divisions, cords, and branches. So I'm going to show you the innervation of these nerves. You do not have to know the innervation of all of these nerves, but I do want to just you to have a little familiarity with it. Also, it amuses the heck out of me because it's just so wackadoodle. So the deltoid muscle and the teres minor muscle are innervated by this axillary nerve. Yes, axillary means armpit, and yes, this goes through the armpit and then extends out to the other side. What about the teres major? Doesn't get to play in this game. The cutaneous or sensory information from this nerve comes from this little patch on the lateral side of the shoulder. Just that little spot right there, that's all. Yeah. So motor to these two muscles, sensory from this part of skin. The median nerve is going to go right down the center of the front of the humerus, through the cubital fossa in the elbow, right down the center of the forearm. It is going to innervate the anterior forearm muscles, all of those flexors, and then the lateral muscles in the hand. And then the cutaneous innervation is the palm of the hand, through the tips of the fingers of digits 1, 2, 3, and half of 4, not all of 4. And then on the dorsal side, just the first joint of digits 1, 2, 3, and half of 4, but not all of 4. The musculocutaneous nerve is going to, again, go down, kind of down the front, a little more superficial on the upper arm, innervate the biceps brachii, the brachialis, the coracobrachialis, and then this little lateral portion of skin of the forearm, just that little spot right there. The radial nerve is going to innervate these muscles on the back of the arm, the teres major, these extensor muscles in that posterior compartment of the arm, of the forearm, and then the skin on the back of the arm, not including this little patch for the axillary nerve, or this little patch for the radial, or for the musculocutaneous, and then it goes down the back of the hand to the end of that first joint on digits 1, 2, 3, and yes, half of 4. So what takes up the rest of the hand? Digit half of 4 and 5, that would be your ulnar nerve. It also innervates some of the anterior forearm muscles and your intrinsic hand muscles, including the dorsal and the palmar interossei. And the other cool thing about the ulnar nerve is that it is your funny bone nerve. So if you bend your elbow and feel that medial epicondyle, and then feel that olecranon process, then right between them, you will feel this little indentation between the two of those. And if you press in there, you will actually feel tingling in your pinky finger in particular, and that is because you are actually pressing on your ulnar nerve. So the one thing I do want you to know, funny bone nerve is your ulnar nerve. Yeah, cool, right? So those are your 5 branches of the brachial plexus: the axillary, median, musculocutaneous, radial, and ulnar branches. Okay? All right, now the next up is the lumbar plexus. It has a posterior and an anterior division, and just to be contrary, the posterior division innervates the muscles of the anterior compartment, and the anterior division innervates the muscles of the posterior compartment. Why? I don't know. Okay, they didn't ask me. The femoral nerve is the most important part of the posterior division. The obturator nerve is the most important part of the anterior division. Guess what? It goes round, goes through the obturator. I know, who doesn't like it? And then finally we have the sacral plexus. And this, most of this comes out from the sacral foramina. We do have 2 of the nerves from the lumbar vertebrae. And these branch, but they don't create as many terminal branches. They create this one huge branch called the sciatic nerve. And this one is going to provide innervation all the way down the back of your leg. And it's going to divide after going, look, oh, hey, there it goes. Remember, this one passes between the piriformis and the superior gemellus muscle right here. Sometimes it goes through the piriformis on some people. So it is really easy to pinch and irritate. It goes all the way down the back of the femur, branches along the way along the femur, and then splits at the back of the knee in that popliteal fossa into a common fibular nerve and into a tibial nerve. So the fibular nerve going down the lateral side of the lower leg, tibial nerve down the medial side of the lower leg. Depending on which branch you have irritated, you will feel pain in either down the back or down the lateral side. That'll tell you whether you've irritated one side of the nerve or the other. If you have pain in both of those places, congratulations, you irritated your whole sciatic nerve. So that's your sciatic nerve. Those are the plexuses of the body, the cervical, the brachial, the lumbar, and the sacral plexus. And that's the end of this one.